Hey y'all, so today I'm going to drive Shadow over to Home Depot for the first time. I'm not nervous, whatever. I need to pick up some supplies. I'm really close to being able to close my internal walls up, which I'm super stoked about. So I'm going to pick up my last bag of insulation and the wood to close up my walls, and I'll let you guys watch me finish putting in the insulation. I'll tell you a little information about that, and I'll start the process of putting my walls up. Let's get driving. Alright, now we're ready to go. So I've driven Shadow before, and the camera footage is probably going to be a little shaky, so apologize for that. I've driven her before, but when I did that drive, I discovered that I had an issue with my brakes. So I haven't really driven her extensively since I got that issue discovered and fixed. We'll see how it goes. Right now I'm in drive. I'm going to put it in a lower gear and let's go for it. You know, I am still very much so getting used to driving this thing. Before I purchased Shadow, I had never driven something this big. In fact, the biggest thing I'd driven before I purchased her was a truck, a regular size truck. And then the day I picked up the box truck was the first time I had driven a box truck. So now Shadow is a tad bit bigger than she was as a box truck. And it makes me nervous, I'm not even gonna lie. But I'm adjusting and I'm getting used to it, and the reason why I am driving her to Home Depot today as opposed to asking my lovely friend Frank if he would be interested in bringing me to Home Depot is that I need to drive Shadow more. I'm not going to get used to driving her, and I'm not going to be okay with taking her on adventures if I don't drive her more often. So I'm going to take her on the freeway. Home Depot is about 2 exits away from where I live, so it's a short drive. Yeah. She's handling beautifully. Like so much better than she did the last time I drove her to bring her to the facility to paint. But as I mentioned before, I had a mechanical issue that day, and today I'm mechanical issue free, I think. I hope. She stopped beautifully too. So last time I drove her, I also was a little sketched out about braking because she was being really slow to brake. Also because of the mechanical issue. So she's driving beautifully, accelerating wonderfully, stopping without making me nervous. I guess while we're in this car we can talk, because what else are we gonna do, right? This whole life that I'm trying to create with Shadow, I'm really excited about the possibilities of what it could be. Building her out has been one of the hardest, most beautiful journeys I've decided to undertake for myself, and it's been really cool and intimidating and empowering all at the same time. I'm learning that I really truly can do any of the things that I set my mind to. And it's affecting me in all the areas of my life. It's affecting me in my job. I'm taking a lot more risk. I'm trying to really implement cool things that can help my students in positive ways. I'm thinking a lot about what kind of changes can I make in relation to fighting against inequity and all closing our equity gap within my program. And yeah, it's really interesting because Shadow has become more than just a project, this thing that I'm building. Shadow has become this source of inspiration and courage for me, and that is really blowing my mind in a lot of really beautiful ways. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Also, we're about 50 feet from the on-ramp for the interstate, but there's a red light first. Here we go. Normally when a sign says take a curve at a certain speed, I'm usually doing at least double that speed, but not today. It said take the curve at 25. I took the curve at 25. Oh, I cannot fully express to you how relieved I am that this is going well, because when I was driving the truck over to paint it, I got super discouraged that I didn't tell anyone about this. I'm telling you guys out in the internet ethers for the first time, but I got so discouraged because I was worried that Shadow wasn't going to be drivable and my entire dream was going to be crushed, that I was going to have to leave her stationary all the time. So my heart is exploding with joy right now because she is 100% drivable, and I am so excited. She doesn't feel that different from what she felt like before I raised the roof. She doesn't feel that different from what she felt like when I raised the roof, and that in itself feels like an amazing accomplishment. I'm just floored by this experience right now. Like, seriously, I could cry. I'm so happy about how well this went. Right now I'm pulling up into the Home Depot parking lot. Everyone's looking at me, which is really funny. I gotta find a place to park and also concentrate on not running over any human beings, because, you know, that would be bad. Alright, let's see. So like that, folks, I did it. I drove her to Home Depot and it was amazing. I'm gonna go in and get the supplies that I need and come back out and we'll make our way back home. So excited. So I made it home from Home Depot safe and sound. That drive was so just absolutely epic for me for so many reasons. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about insulation, and we're going to keep it simple. We're going to only really talk about the R value because insulation is a complicated subject and we don't have enough time to talk about all of the things. So starting with R value, this particular insulation that I'm sitting on right now is R15, and I picked that for a specific reason, and I'll tell you why. Let's talk about what R values are for a moment. So R stands for resistance, and the R value measures the resistance of that insulation to heat and cold, trying to make its way into your home through the method of conduction. Now, there's three other methods that heat and cold can make its way into your house. But R value only measures conduction, only measures conduction, and not any of those other three methods that we're not going to get into right now. So yeah, R value measures resistance. This particular insulation that I selected is R15. This is why I selected it. There is a map. You can find it online in various places. I'll try to put a link below to a map that can help you figure out what you need for your geographical area. But there's a map that lets you know what type of insulation or what R value will best serve you in your geographical location. I live in Northern California, and according to that map, the R value I need is between 13 and 15. I went with 15 because it's the highest number in that spectrum. This particular insulation that I selected is mineral wool as opposed to fiberglass. I went with mineral wool because fiberglass freaks me out. It's really nasty stuff, and this is a little bit better than that. I originally thought about doing spray foam insulation, which would have been perfect because while this only addresses heat and cold entering and leaving my space through conduction. Ooh, it's a tongue twister. Spray foam will cover you on all of the other axes as well. The reason I didn't go with spray foam insulation is because of off-gassing. I got really worried that having spray foam insulation in such a small space could lead to off-gassing. Well, it's going to off-gas no matter what, but I was worried that off-gassing could be detrimental to my health. So I went with this one instead. This particular insulation that I selected, it is also a sound barrier, which is really important living in a space like this. It's also mold resistant and fire resistant. So I thought all of those were really great selling points for this particular insulation that I selected. Now, I know what you're thinking. You may not be thinking it, but I'm thinking it. My house has a lot of glass. I have a lot of windows, really, really big windows. And when it comes down to sound prevention and excess heat and cold coming into the space, these windows are actually pretty amazing. When my windows are closed, there is a marked difference in the amount of sound that I can hear inside of the space, as well as heat and cool coming in through the space. The windows are double pane insulated windows, so they are doing a little bit of, or at least they're pulling a little bit of their own weight to prevent heat and cold from coming inside of the space. I picked those windows strategically as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the rest of the insulation. I didn't tape the whole process because you're putting insulation in the walls. It's not that difficult. You cut it down to the size that you need, you fit it into your space, and you shove it in there nice and tight. So I'm going to go ahead and finish what I need to finish with the insulation. I'll let you watch me do that part of the process, and then maybe we'll get started on some walls today. I'm super stoked about getting some walls up. All right, let's go. is in place. My next step is to go around with this stuff. I'm going to spray any gaps or spaces around my insulation to try to prevent any other possibility for air to get in, air to get out, heat to get in. You get the drift. So this stuff is called Great Stuff. I grabbed the one that's big gap filler. So I'm gonna go around with this. I'm gonna fill any spaces that need to be filled. All right, let's go. And like that, my insulation is done. Well, just about. There's a couple of areas where I have not put any insulation in for a few reasons. Those reasons are, if we look at this part, this is where my electrical wires are running out to the entirety of the truck for my DC power and my AC. Yellow's AC, red and black are DC. And I don't have my solar panels installed yet, but when I do, they're gonna come in through a hole in the roof around here and then make their way down into this section as well. So I'm not gonna close this part of the wall up just yet. I'm going to leave it open until I can do that part, until I can do the part of running my solar wires down inside the truck. Other areas where I have not closed it up yet, down here you can see it. So I want to wait until I can test my water before I close that up, but I'm not going to put the wool, the mineral wool insulation there. I'll probably put a little bit of spray foam. And here in the bathroom, I also haven't closed it up yet. For the same reason as the kitchen, I need to test the plumbing first, make sure there's no leaks. So this wall will remain open until I can test the plumbing next week. Once it's done, I'm not gonna put, again, I'm not gonna put mineral wool inside of this one or this one. I'm going to use my sheets of styrofoam insulation, and then I'm gonna go around it with spray foam as well, mainly because this is just a larger area. It's too large to try to spray this whole thing with that can of spray foam. And then inside of these walls, which is the wall for my shower and this inner wall for my closet, look how big my closet is, by the way, but this inner wall for my closet, I'm going to put in sheets of the styrofoam insulation again and put spray foam around it. So I know that I said I would also in the same video show you the start of me putting my walls up, but I decided that I'm going to cut it now and then I'm going to make the walls a whole video all on its own. There's prep work I need to do. Shadow is a disaster zone inside in terms of all the junk and mess in it. So I need to clean her out first and do a few other things. So I'm going to cut this video short. Well, I mean, I guess it's not that short. It's probably, I don't know how long it is because I haven't edited it, but it's probably pretty long. So I'm going to cut it now, and I will resume with another video covering me putting the walls up. So yeah, my insulation is in place, and it took me about 4 bags of insulation to get this done. The total cost of it was about maybe $250, $300 or so to get the entire space insulated. I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm super stoked to start putting walls up. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, tell me how I can improve it. Share it, tell a friend. I'm so happy to have all of you a part of my community. It really makes me smile. I'm still like really gushing inside over all of you who decided to follow along with my journey. If you're not following me on Instagram, give me a follow. Summer Seeking is the name. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.